What is going on, my fellow OMI homies? It's Foster, and I'm back at it again with another VV and Ecomi video. Guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you are watching my channel right now and you are not subscribed, please feel free to do so down below. It is the only financial advice that I will ever give you on my channel. Guys, today I wanted to go over something that I saw on social media. I don't normally make full video responses to tweets or things that are put out on social media. Normally I'll just respond directly to them, but I felt like this was something that needed to be addressed, and I did want to make sure that everyone in the community was aware of it because I do think that it could cause a lot of unnecessary concern. So I did want to address my findings so that everyone's aware of kind of where I believe things sit on this and why I believe it's not actually as big of a deal as it may have been made out to be. Out of respect for the person that made the tweet, I will not be sharing it publicly because the purpose of this is not to trash or tarnish this individual, but they referenced and retweeted this tweet from OMI Whale Watcher. And for those of you that do not know what OMI Whale Watcher is, it's essentially an account that puts out different information for large transactions that are taking place in OMI. So anytime a significant amount of OMI is transacted from one account to another, this tweet is automatically generated by this account and it keeps people in the loop. The benefit of this is that if you see a significant amount of OMI being transacted to exchanges all at the same time, it's possible that there's a catalyst coming, whether it be positive or negative, and you could expect to see some volatility in price. Conversely, if you're seeing a lot of OMI being taken off of exchanges at the same time, you could always use that as well as an indication or a factor that whales might be planning to hold more so for the long term. So what is it about this tweet that was concerning? As you can see, it didn't get a lot of engagement, 4 likes, 1 retweet, 1 comment. Nothing jumps off the page with that. It is 21.7 billion OMI, which is a considerable amount of tokens. It's just under 10% of the current circulating supply. But what concerned me was that this individual put out a tweet essentially indicating that 1/8 of the circulating supply of tokens was now being controlled by one individual. And if people understood what that means, then they should be worried. And this, to me, is basically an indication that this person is saying that one individual entity has control of a significant portion of the tokens and now has the ability to manipulate or suppress the price, which of course is concerning. And I actually made, as you can see here on the screen now, a part 1 of a multiple part series that I will be continuing, and that is, do whales control the OMI token? And that was a narrative that was going around a few months ago. Not to say that whales don't have a lot of OMI, they definitely do, but numbers like 85% of the circulating supply to the top 500 wallets were going around, and I was able to kind of break down the numbers here in this video to show that that simply just wasn't the case. If you guys haven't seen it, I will link it above and in the description down below, and I do recommend watching it. So today, 21.7 billion tokens on December 11th were transacted, and this tweet came out today saying this is a concern. So let's go over the numbers and see what this might actually mean and break it down, and I'll let you guys determine for yourselves whether or not this is something you believe you should be concerned about. We'll click on the GoChain Explorer data here. You can see that this happened on December 11th at 9:24 p.m., so 9 days ago. This doesn't look like a normal contract hash. For those of you that are familiar with the GoChain, normally this isn't the type of information that would pop up. It would look different. There'd be individual transaction data, but this looks different. This was an actual OMI token transfer, and there was a specific contract address that was generated. So that was the first thing that jumped off the page to me, is that if this was an individual whale account, why does it have its own token transfer data hash and a completely independent contract address? So that didn't make sense to me. So I saw that it had an independent contract address, and it was moving from this wallet that we can see down here, this 0x986, to this 0x481 wallet. And we can see the value, 21.7 billion OMI. So I'm going to pull up my buddy Jason's profile here. Shout out to Jason Cologne. He puts out fantastic information. He does a great job of tracking OMI wallets, whether it be from exchanges or larger whales. I would definitely recommend giving him a follow on Twitter. He's great and puts out fantastic information. So as you can see here, he put out a tweet on December 17th, and this shows the major exchanges for the OMI token. So he has the Bitforex contract address, the AscendX, which is BitMax, OKX, and Gate.io. So these are the major exchanges that OMI is listed on right now, and we can see the individual contracts address. As you can see here, AscendX, which is 0x986, that is the address that had the OMI originally. So now we know where the money originated from. We know that this 21.7 billion OMI came from Ascendex, but where did it go? Is this a whale buying $250 million worth of OMI all at once and completely bleeding the supply of Ascendex dry? Or could there something else be going on there that could lead to this explanation? So let's click on the address where this goes. So as you can see, it was transacted from our 0x986 account to this address here, this 0x4b1, 21.7 billion. So a test amount of 1 OMI was sent. As an aside, guys, if you ever are going to be sending OMI to a wallet off of an exchange, make sure to send a test amount first. You want to make sure that you're entering in the correct address. But as we can see here, 21.7 billion OMI was transacted to this specific address. And we can see here the balance is still the 21.7 billion tokens. Okay, well, that doesn't give us a lot more clarification. We know that the OMI was sent from Ascendex to this wallet. But what are they doing with this wallet? It hasn't been touched in 9 days, and that really doesn't give us a lot more clarification. We know that Ascendex had the biggest amount of OMI. So my first thought when I was looking into this was, could this be a new exchange listing? Is Ascendex providing liquidity to another exchange? We know that we're migrating over to the ERC20 network sometime in early January, and that the token will become an ERC20 standard token, and exchange listings should probably follow shortly afterwards. So I started to explore that thought. But then I realized quite quickly, it wouldn't make sense for Ascendex to give up all of their liquidity for an exchange listing. Then they wouldn't have any OMI that they could transact with on their network. And more likely than not, the money that would be provided, or the OMI that would be provided for liquidity for a new exchange, would come from the business development fund from OMI directly, or from Ecomi, I should say. So that didn't make sense. So I started to explore other options as to why this might be happening. And I came across this. For those of you that don't know, Ascendex was actually hacked on December 11th. They lost $77.7 million worth of crypto for their customers. To my knowledge, the OMI token was not affected in any way by this hack. I believe it was primarily Ethereum, and there may have been 1 or 2 other major cryptos that were affected by this. It looks like Binance Smart Chain and Polygon were the major ones that were affected. But the OMI token was not reported as being affected by this. So this came out on December 15th, but we know the hack happened on December 11th. This transaction took place on December 11th. So now we can start to piece this information together a little bit better. We can see that Ascendex was obviously breached on December 11th. And we know through this article that they brought on different individuals. It started at 5 p.m. Eastern was the hack when it started. They brought in blockchain analysts. So if this hack happened at 5 p.m. Eastern and this money was transacted at 9 p.m. Eastern, because I'm on the Eastern time zone, so it's synced up with my time, well, it would make sense that Ascendex would be looking to transfer all of their cryptos that they currently hold in their hot wallets to other wallets that are not currently associated with their platform to ensure that their accounts are not being affected and that crypto is not being stolen from them. So then once I realized that, I was looking at all of the major token addresses, and you can see here still the 27.7 or 21.7 billion OMI tokens for the 0x4b1 account is still the 6th largest account under the token address hash for OMI. And it really starts to make a lot of sense that what Ascendex essentially did is took all of their OMI that they were holding in a hot wallet that they had for liquidity for their exchange and transferred it to another wallet that was not immediately associated with the exchange and could not be hacked because it was put into a separate area. So once I figured that out, I realized that, well, that also makes sense as to why we haven't seen a lot of data come from this, because the Go chain only updates for large token hash transactions every 48 hours or so. And withdrawals and deposits of the OMI token were only reinstated on Ascendex the other day. So that's why we're likely not seeing any further data coming from this. If we go back to the 0x986 transaction, we can see 6,336 pages of data coming from this. So we can see what it looks like when an exchange is facilitating tokens in and out of their exchange into wallets. But of course, only that is transacted on the exchange itself doesn't show up. This is only when you're physically taking OMI off of an exchange or putting it onto an exchange. So I wanted to go ahead and make this video, guys. I don't want to make it too much longer than this. It was just important clarification that I felt was needed. When you do see information like this online, don't be afraid to do your own research, come to your own conclusions. And of course, at the end of the day, you may come to a different conclusion than I did about this. But it's important to go that extra step, because I know what happens a lot of times is that people will read YouTube video titles, or they'll see tweets that someone put out and they won't read into it any further than that. They will just assume that the information that is being put out is correct on its face. And then they'll drop their own assumptions and opinions based on that without actually taking the time to get the correct information. So I wanted to take the time for you guys today to get this correct information out to you, because like I said, it can be scary to think that one individual whale now has control of 8% of the OMI token, but I wanted to rest assured that that does not appear to be the case. I do look forward to hearing what all of you guys think down in the comment section below. As always, I really do appreciate all the support that you've given me on my channel. I'm less than 100 subscribers away from 5,000. I cannot believe how quickly my channel has grown, and I do feel extremely blessed and grateful to have all of your support. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.